Hello, I am Matt DeSarl, a video editor and producer here in Lawrence, Kansas, and this week I'm launching a video series focused on Kansas small businesses amidst the coronavirus epidemic, and my hope is that this video series becomes a resource not only for fellow entrepreneurs, but hopefully families and individuals as well, as we're all in this together. So, in light of recent developments, interview guests will join me by video chat only. And my guest today is fellow entrepreneur and friend, Christine Julian. Christine is a Kansas City area interior designer who has both commercial and residential clients. Christine, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome, and how are you doing, all things considered?
Yeah, working from home, got all the kids, making it work, but doing great.
Yeah, we have the kids obviously at home today as well, a 2 and a 4-year-old, and so interesting times, but wanted to invite you on today because your advice may definitely come in handy as a lot of people are sort of preparing for a long stay at home. What tips would you give to maybe change up the feel of a room to fit a different moment?
Yeah, I think the easiest thing we can all do is sort of just redecorate with the stuff that we have. So pull everything down, maybe put up half of what we normally do, and that's strategic so that we can sort of reduce how much we're processing, which allows more room for toys and things to add in that will while we're all at home right now. But it just helps reduce anxiety from what you're looking at so that it's more of a calming feeling, just less busyness.
Obviously, everyone's mental health is really important. How much of the psychology in general did you study in your interior design background?
Quite a bit, and actually I spent the last year just like personally testing things because I have 3 kids under 6, so things get intense, right? But it's amazing what changing a paint color can do to a space to make it feel bigger and brighter. Also just getting rid of anything that feels negative or kind of derogatory and putting that away. Even if it's a family heirloom, if it doesn't bring you joy, right, then you shouldn't be looking at it or having it out, at least for a point in time. So when you start to feel a little bit better, then you can always sort of reintroduce things and see how you feel, but never feel obligated to put things out just because they're a part of the family either.
That's a great point. In terms of, you've talked a lot about zones and creating different zones. Which pieces of furniture do you think are more flexible than others? I know it's kind of a stupid question, but which pieces of furniture can kind of be brought in and out at different moments, to mix up the feel of a room?
Well, little tables, for one, can be set up and bunched together to create desks or work areas. They're lightweight. Your dining table, you can kind of move around, bring it out in the living room or wherever you need to. Obviously, bigger pieces are hard, but sofa cushions become forts, right? And different things that are more movable. So just being creative and being able to move things around, knowing that you can put it back later and not getting too stressed about it in the moment.
How do you create zones to where you're still able to sort of create barriers for your own life to kind of not shift and get distracted into different, just that work-life balance?
Yeah, that's really challenging, and I think it's so tempting to do, but it's very hard for us to get back into the same workflow that we were in if we get distracted. Even answering a question sometimes can pull you off track and get you out of the mode. So you might have to rethink when you work, right? Like maybe when the kids go to bed is when you're working if you can. But make sure that your work area is sort of private. So soundproof it a little bit if you can. Hide away in the basement. Sometimes that's what I have to do when the kids are playing. And make sure that you're just not distracted and that you're focused. And the same goes for being home with the kids. If you can sort of create separate times where you're really focused on them, they won't be bugging you so much while you're working, hopefully, to pay attention to them too. So just being intentional about when you're doing things and where.
Join us later this week for part 2 of our conversation with interior designer Christine Julian. She will give us great ideas for how to incorporate nature. We're talking about plants and natural light, that and more. But tomorrow we chat with a seasoned employment expert in Lawrence, Barry Kingery, co-owner of Express Pros. On the heels of Kansas schools K-12 canceled for the rest of the school year and new concerns that unemployment could hit 20%, he has some great perspective to share with us. Stay with us for that. Hang in there and keep producing.